Right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a while, but I am back here for Britain for the second to final round here of this Tier 2 season. And it's going to be an emotional one, because for one final time this season, I'll be commentating alongside the Scotsman, Callum G. Callum, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very good. Thank you very much. It's been a long time since we've both been in this commentary box. It's been over a month. But listen, we're back and we are back when it counts. There's 2 rounds to go. And tonight, this championship could even be wrapped up. PSR Boots in a very commanding position in the championship. 38 points clear off Scyther, who's in P2. All he has to do is make sure Scyther doesn't outscore him tonight by 13 points. And PSR Boots is your Tier 2 champion. So yeah, it's very exciting stuff tonight.
Certainly so. It's a very interesting one. Britain always brings out the best in every single driver on this tier. Few drivers just going out on outlaps on their medium tyres before pitting, which is quite an interesting strategy, just to maybe settle into the rhythm. Britain's just an interesting track to say the least. A lot of understeer can be seen through the corners around here, but also traction is also going to be a key point on getting on the throttle, especially through the first sector, is where we might see a few drivers struggling to get on the power. On board with Shizua Piccolo now, after getting his recent promotion today to the main team, the Frenchman looking to put Shizou on the map here with a good performance here tonight. The Frenchman, he's had an interesting season, to be fair, has Piccolo. Up and down the field, has.
Yeah, it definitely has. I think that can be said for drivers in this tier. It's been a bit of a roller coaster for the majority of them now. They even probably include your championship, like their PSR Boots in that one point midway through the season where he wasn't scoring any points and he wasn't getting the podium, but kind of got his stuff back together midway through the season. Started picking up wins and he's been actually pretty consistent in the last few rounds. Not a great race in Saudi Arabia, only picking up 6 points, but a win last week with Scyther, only picking up 1 point. It was a massive sort of PSR Boots, as I mentioned, puts him in a really good position tonight. And I think in a race round here at Silverstone, if he as well, if you just keep it on the track, it should be a good race from tonight, and hopefully for his sake it'll be straightforward.
Yeah, certainly so. Well, like we watched yesterday in Tier 1, Shadow didn't take any necessary risks last night, and I think that'll be the same for Boots here. He won't want to risk anything. He'll just want to get the title wrapped up with the final round next week. I think that will be his goal, to not get involved in any drama. But not quite like last season, where you remember we went to the final race where there could have been around 3-4 different winners until then. So Boots will definitely be wrapped up tonight, and the question is, will he be able to do it? Because that added pressure of trying to get that up on the board, or drivers behind you just applying unnecessary pressure, could result in a spin or a unnecessary crash, you know. And Boots is really got to be that, because some of these drivers will just be racing simply to put their name out there as ahead of the new season on the new game. They'll be looking to make a statement to potential new teams out there, or just looking to cause some mayhem, you know, because when it's at that end of the season as the titles round up, it should just bring more action. It's notorious for sort of being a stalemate race, or it's just a train. Do you think we'll see that here tonight, Callum, or do you think, since nobody's got anything to go for really, we could see a bit more drama?
I think it could go either way. I think it's a good point. There's a lot of people on this tier that are just kind of just racing for the sake of it now. They're not in a championship fight. Maybe they might want to finish 5th in the championship or whatever, but really there's not many drivers fighting for anything other than Boots and Scyther, so I think it's going to be really interesting. I think from Boots' point of view, he will just want to wrap this up tonight, because I think in the nicest way possible, we've seen he's got a mistake in him. He makes mistakes every now and then, and he certainly wouldn't want this championship to go to next week in Brazil, because we've seen many times this season that it's just he makes a few silly mistakes here and there which could easily see this title swing in the favour of Scyther. So yeah, there's a lot of pressure on Boots tonight. Even though he's 38 points clear, I think there's a lot of pressure that he's probably going to have to just make sure he keeps it clean, he has a good race tonight and wraps up this championship.
Yeah, certainly so, and that is what you've got to keep in mind. Scyther, the Alpha Male, the American man, really has put up a good fight to Boots this season, joining later on, I believe. He wasn't really a starter, but when he did start to pick up some form, he was absolutely flying, and we were thinking when Boots was on that run of not finishing, certainly there was certainly a chance where Scyther was going to maybe steal it away from Boots, but that's what true champions do. They pick themselves up and start going at it again, and that's what we've seen from Boots time and time again. which has shown why he's just a level above this field this season, because he's managed to pull it out the bag a few. You can see already in qualifying, 3 tenths clear of FRT Akos, who also has had some glimpses of races where he's really been challenging for the top 5 position, but never really been anywhere further than that. Whereas FRT Finn sets a nice.
Let's see. Oh, is he on a lap? I don't think he is. Looks like he's backed off, or he's in an out lap or in lap or something. But Cypher really needs to pull something out of the bag. 13th is not a good place to start, and especially around Silverstone, it's notoriously hard to overtake. It's notoriously hard to come back from a position like P13, P14. So yes, I think he's got a lot of work to do in these last 7 minutes.
Yeah, he certainly does indeed. Hopefully this stream is now fixed. Had to quickly turn it off and turn it back on again to fix the bit rate. Gone down by quite a sizable bit, so hopefully that is all fixed on your guys' end. Please let me know if you need any changes to the stream. It might have been just chilly there, but hopefully it's all good now. On board with Shazusam, never mind, he is now invalidated. Quite a common theme starting to show now. A lot of drivers starting to push the limits, and it's really not playing out for them at the minute. And a lot of drivers all in the pit lane, so it just shows you that Britain is notorious for pushing the limits, and a lot of drivers are not getting rewarded for it at the moment.
Yeah, no, it's just one of those tracks, isn't it? You need to really make sure you nail it. Those fine margins can lead to invalidation or a really good lap. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these drivers kind of play it in these last few minutes. I'm just looking on board with PSR Fern. I think it looks like he's on a lap, so we'll stick on board with Alfa Romeo driver as he comes through Copse corner now. A slight lift, actually. I thought it looked pretty comfortably flat, but there you have it, a slight lift. Maybe just a confidence one that. Just wants to make sure he can get a lap on the board and through Maggotts and Beckett's. He goes, look at that, flat out through Maggotts and into Beckett's. That car is on absolute raves. It's fantastic to see, but oh, he's a little bit too wide there on the grass and a little trip over the grass as well, which causes an invalidation. But unlucky stuff there from Fernie. Definitely was on the limit there, as I've thought, it's an improvement. That is Shizu Fresh goes up into P4 as well on the Aston Martin, I think.
That's a great lap time there from the Shizu Academy driver. Already out qualifying the newly promoted Shizu driver, but Piccolo still hasn't set a reasonable lap time since his medium run, so the pressure is on him to get a lap time on the board now, because you don't want to be starting anywhere outside the top 10 around here, because track position is certainly crucial if you want any chance of getting a good result around here, and the alternate strategy certainly isn't too favourable around here, that is for sure. Fingerboy in P10 currently, having one of his best qualifyings of the season so far. Had an absolute stellar result at Saudi Arabia, if you can cash on mind back to that one, where he somehow picked up one of the best results of his season. On board with Tuddy now, seems like he's gone again. Going down to 3rd gear now, up into 5th on the exit, so to maximise the traction, and onto the power he goes. Now through the right-hander again, keeping it, minimising the drivers tend to do that, just a small margin of time. And again, is there a slight lift? Showing the rear end of that car. Might not set up too nicely. A bit too oversteering, twitchy on the rear. Now through Mag again, 7th gear. Oh, holds it in 6th. Lots of understeer there. Didn't get the turn in just right. And it's a 102.843. Not flying through that middle sector at the moment is Tuddy, but he is improving crucially, which can put him up maybe inside the top 4 here if he can get this lap together nicely. Gets on the power quite good there as well. Now through the final few corners goes Tuddy, the Shizu Academy driver, looking to make a statement once again. Bit wide on the exit though. That's going to lose in crucial time. It's a 1:26.302. We're still a lot.
Definitely looked like that. I'm surprised it put him so high up. But yeah, I've had Tuddy nice lap there in the Red Bull and puts him on to the 3rd row of the grid. But I think that one might just start to deplete a little bit, as we've got a lot of drivers still to set a laps. I'm not too sure how long but left. Yep, just 3.5 minutes left. So yeah, we just start to fall now, and I think Tuddy might find himself not as high up as he would expect.
Yeah, certainly so. Just waiting for some. We'll have for a few minutes because all the drivers will be on out laps. This is where the stalemate all happens. Cypher's decided to go out early, which is quite an interesting decision. But if he's fueled up for 2 runs, if he makes a mistake, he can go again. Crucially, for himself, the American man down in P15, unusual. For him, the 50-meter board has been taken out, and that's certainly going to cause a few issues for some of these drivers. And I'm not sure if there is a rule on the braking boards being taken out, but I'm sure it was incidental on this scenario, as all the drivers use that curbing on the right-hand side to get the maximum cornering speed through that long left-hander. And again, Cypher showing some good confidence through with his car there through that long, fast right-hander once again.
Yeah, definitely. He's looking pretty quick now, is Scyther, considering he's got so much on the line. He is really pushing the limit. It's just under 300 up, or over 300 up, I should say. Accurate that is, but it does look promising nonetheless for this Alpha Male driver coming through Cobb's corner. Look at that, he's so committed. He's using every little inch of track that he through. Bailey goes now into Club corner, through here up into fourth, interestingly enough. And he's now just got one more corner to navigate, but he's had a pretty good lap here so far from Scyther. What could it be as he comes across line, and there's enough for P4. He's got himself out of the depth of P15 and got himself into the second row of the grid. And that's a good lap there from Scyther, and I think he might be pretty relieved after that one.
Yeah, certainly so. Again, sorry for the issues, ladies and gentlemen. It will be fixed at the end of qualifying. Once again, I'm really surprised with the issues since I did test it all before. But they seem to have stuck with, which is a real shame. On board with WR Venom, he's yet to set a lap time, along with Sarv Legend and Shazoo Sam. So the pressure is on those three in particular. Through Maggots and Beckett's goes the Haas driver. Opens the RS now. Quite nicely done. From Venom. This is crucial for the British man to get a lap time on the board. Will just take away the stress for the race, and Rizzy moving out of the way quite nicely just in time there. And again, through the final few corners he goes down to second gear there, really struggling with the turn in off that Haas. Now up to line is a 126.262, and that is a very good lap time indeed. And Shazoo Sam goes up into P3. That's a mega lap from the two Haas drivers who've pulled it out at the death there.
Yeah, absolutely. Unless there's still time left in this clock, Scyther looks like he might be going again, and these times it might just start to fall even more.
Can't believe that. PSR Wextra now up into P2. That's an absolutely stellar job there from the AlphaTauri man. Now we're going to go on the board with a man who's yet to set a lap. Sarv Legend, the Aston Martin. What can he do about it? Can he finally get a lap time on the board? That was very committed. Through Maggots and Beckett's, a bit wide on the exit though. Up into 7th gear. A 102.846. Not the most quick middle sector we've seen from these drivers, but it's certainly one to get a few drivers worried inside that midfield pack. Now approaching the final sector he goes. It's a 126.060 for PSR Furton, the Mexican, pulling out the last death there, and that's a very nicely done. And Sarv Legend only does enough for P14 with a 26.354. He'll be a bit disappointed with that one there.
Yeah, definitely. PSR Boots is backed off, so is Wextra, so is Sam, so it looks like it could be pole position for Fen. Right at the end, FRT Smokey's in the lap time, he's a 10.5 up, and that could be enough, for pole position if he can keep this up. Coming into the last sector, he goes into still now, breaking around at the 50-metre board, 6th gear from down into 5th. He's really sending that Mercedes through there, and he's got the grip, and he's got the confidence. Can he carry it through, though? 3 corners left to go, or 4 it might just be. FRT Smokey, he's in a great lap, a lap of a moment, coming in the left-hander, but just one more corner and navigating, could be pole position for FRT Smokey. Ah, yes, it is. There you have it by 0.003 of a second. FRT Smokey puts himself on pole position for the Silverstone Grand Prix.
That's an absolute mega lap there from FRT Smokey. That final few corners was absolutely to perfection. FRT Finn failing to improve from P14, and that is going to be it for qualifying. Jasu Piccolo and Shazoo Noctix, the two McLarens, have had a qualifying to forget here. But what, my oh my, FRT Smokey, that was absolutely sensational to pull it out the bag 3,000ths quicker than PSR Third. That shows the quality of this grid already here tonight, and maybe, just maybe, the championship leader might be a little bit worried not being on the front row here.
Yeah, but I think you're looking in P10 and see a little bit of comfort in that. Scyther, P10 on the grid, that is not what you want at all. Not even on the alternate strategy. Like a little incident lap one, it's very easy to get caught up behind traffic, and yeah, it's not been a good session for Scyther, considering he was, what, P3, P4 at one point. I mean, you look, was it today? It was P4 before the runs came in, and he ends up in P13. So yeah, those times just really dropped at the end, and it looks like just going that run earlier before everyone else just doesn't seem to pay off today.
No, certainly not, and that's the frustrating part, because you would have thought Venom has absolutely got that in the bag, but Silverstone is all about the fine margins around here, and that is shown exactly why that statement is true, by the way, because Venom was absolutely, I thought that would have been enough personally, but the lap times drastically improved. The PSR 2, 3, 4, 5, that was a statement made from those guys in particular there. Rizzy pulling out the death as well, because remember, he was down all the way in P18, don't forget, as well, or P17, my mistake, before that final lap time. So you never know with this qualifying and the race. You never know, could still bring more drama because we don't know about the weather here, Callum. Could we see rain?
Well, it wouldn't be out of fashion to see rain here in Silverstone, so yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on, and obviously something we see a lot here in this tier of safety cars as well. That always can play a part, can ruin a strategy, can just throw a spanner into the works of the race. So I think all hope isn't lost if you get any driver on this. They can get something out of this race, but I think if we don't see any safety cars, we don't see any rain, it's just a simple dry race, start to finish. I think if you're Scyther, you're really worried because he really needs to pull something out the bag here if he wants to keep this title going into Brazil.
Yeah, certainly so. In the top 10 then, a great lap there from FRT Smokey, Fern and Boots. It'll be interesting to see how this race all plays out here tonight, and you never know how it could all unfold. Britain has always thrown a bit of drama in there, so I'm expecting some of that from guys, but this is tier 2, don't forget, and remember the standards of this grid is extremely high, and I feel like in particular a few dive bombs into some certain corners around here, especially in the first sector, before the DRS straight, that long left-handed corner. A lot of drivers will go for a little cheeky dive. The question is, will they be given the space or will they be turned in on? We'll have to wait and see how that all plays out. To be fair to the drivers, the racing has been very, very clean. So you never know. We could see some late dive bombs or aggressive manoeuvres, but the respect there at the end. And now, Callum, for one final time this season, what is your prediction for the top 3 here tonight?
Oh, I've not missed this question. Our PSR Boots win and to win the championship. I will PSR Extra in second, and I'll go for Scyther in third from P10 in the grid. He'll try and claw something back, but it just might not be enough today.
Alright, interesting indeed. I'm gonna go with Smokey, the guy on pole. You finishes on top, so we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But with the PSR 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe we could see some between those guys. They might decide together and maybe just apply so much pressure to fold under it. But I feel like Smokey, cool mind that he says on his shoulders, he might just be able to hold on. But I feel like we're going to see a mix in here. I feel like Shazoo Sam is going to get second play tonight. I'm calling it now, prediction, but I'm going to say Wexro is going to hold on to third, and I feel like PSR Boots might not even finish tonight. I don't know why, but I'm sensing some drama for the championship leader here tonight, just to make it interesting, and you never know with Tier 2, that happen. So yeah, as we wait finally... Right, we are back here. The quality will be worse here. Sorry about this. Did a few tests before the stream went live, and the quality was absolutely to a par. But unfortunately, Twitch has decided that is not possible, and they've decided to make the stream worse, which is a shame for all the viewers at home. But again, it's the final time this season. Hopefully, just hopefully, it can hold on enough that it isn't too bad. Got the former Tier 2 title contender in the chat. It's a true honour for you to witness Callum G's final commentating of this season. But now we've got the drivers on the grid and we'll be going racing here with Callum G for the final time this season, and it will be a very, very interesting race. So we got 1, we got 2, we got 3, we got 4, we got 5 red lights. As lights out and away we go here at Silverstone for one final time this season with Callum G, and it seems to me that Fern has got an absolutely horror start, but Smokey has absolutely shot away. There's a hash round. It is Shazoo Sam. My prediction for the podium has already gone flying round through turn 1. What a shame that is. Few drivers make it, getting penalties already. Piccolo, a 3-second time penalty early on. VLX Lurch is already up into P4. An absolute flying start from him. Rizzy staying where he is, but Wexro has had the worst start out of everybody. There's a McLaren in the background. having a bit of a scrap there. Shazoo Optics, I believe, has got some wing damage. That was debris flying in the air. Rev Caterpillar fighting it out with FRT Finn at the moment. And that was a great start from the Irishman up into P11 on the softs.
Yeah, good start for your championship leader as well. PSR Boots keeps it in P3. Scyther as well gains a position up into P9 as well. So his hunt to try and chase down PSR Boots has continued already. But yeah, pretty simple start. Not too much drama, and I think if you're PSR Boots, that is the ideal start for him.
Certainly is, and he is looking comfortable at the moment. The pace at the front, everybody on the exact same battery, funny enough, between the top three. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. Will Lurch apply the pressure to Mr. Boots? That is the question. He's had an interesting season. Remember Portugal, where he was on for an absolutely stunning result. Unfortunately got taken away from him. So maybe he'll be looking to make amends here tonight. And there's drama in the background as that M racer into the pit lane. It is the Williams man having to change that front wing. Absolutely gutted for the German driver, and it has not been his season at all. And is there a potential safety car? No, it's just a few drivers retiring the pit lane early on here. What a shame for those three drivers in particular who's had their race already thrown away here.
Yeah, lack of passion. I need to try and give more than a lap's worth of effort, but yeah, it's unfortunate stuff. All that practice for a lap of Silverstone, but yeah, unfortunate stuff. But I don't think people will be complaining. It's an extra few positions for them. But it's looking pretty processional at the moment. Not too many drivers wanting to make any moves, and yeah, I think that's just your issue with Silverstone. I think this could be a little bit of a theme. I'm trying to see FRP Finn's looking to be on the back of the Aston Martin. Fresh on, it's a spin. Oh! Sebastian Vettel, like Andy's out of this race. Wow, that was pretty dramatic in the end. Coming out of, I'm not too sure what corner that is, coming out of Luffield, and he's in the wall on the left hand side. No safety car, fortunately for us, as the race will continue.
Yeah, it's really, really dramatic there from Finn. He literally lost it, exactly like you said. Also, virtual safety car, which is interesting there. But like you said, Sebastian Vettel-esque, and it is really common for a lot of drivers to get on the power a little bit too early, and that is a key result in that one. Finn trying to get past Rev Capital, or was it Shazoo Fresh? I'm not too sure there. One of the two. Unfortunately, getting a bit too greedy on the throttle, and unfortunately paying the ultimate price by being out of this race on lap 2. So that's 2 retirements in the space of 2 laps. Are we going to see a third on lap 3? That is the question. It seems to me we won't, because the drama is all starting to settle down a bit. Drivers starting to find that rhythm, and at the moment, every driver in the top 5 really keeping it quite professional here.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's probably the only way to do it around here. It's a kind of a game of being patient at Silverstone. It's not really that important to have track position. I think when DRS comes into play, it's so powerful. Oh, as Rizzy makes contact at the back of Lutch there. That's pretty unusual to see that under a virtual safety car, but it looks like we're going green flag racing and Lutch all over the back of PSR Boots here, and going to maybe put a bit of pressure on the Alpha Tauri, but coming in to the corner they go, and Boots doesn't look like he's under too much pressure.
Interesting there from Lurch, sorry, there, to not really go for the move there. Really thought he would have followed through with that, since he was using some of that battery. Really could have been a good opportunity there for the Mercedes man to get onto that podium position. As being in the 3rd man, or the 4th man, the 5th man in this train, you have got absolutely zero hope of making any moves later on. So taking your chances here is absolutely crucial for a good result. And have you seen someone here, Callum?
No, I've not. Just watching PSR Wex were really messy, Maggots and Beckets, and yeah, I'm surprised they kept on the track and nearly on the grass at one point, and I was kind of scared for the car's well-being at one point, but he keeps on the black stuff, and yeah, just keeps him just about in that DRS range. But interestingly enough, FRT Yakos nearly losing the DRS to Wex on that train in the top 6, and that would be massive in this race if he managed to lose somehow the DRS of these guys, because that would just allow these top 6 to break away as well. These guys in the top 3 are all pretty close at the moment.
Yeah, certainly are. Oh my goodness me, Lurch nearly spinning out there. Bit of frustration maybe from Lurch there, weaving left and right. Oh, he was just apologising, one of the two. Rizzy was right behind the Mercedes there of Lurch there. Remember, these guys are all former PSR colleagues, if you can cast your mind back when PSR Lurch was a driver, but unfortunately now they're rivals more than anything, and Rizzy will be most likely trying to help out Boots here by getting past the VLX driver as soon as he can. It's a bit wide again from Lurch. Common theme at the minute, maybe he's struggling with a bit of front wing damage. We'll have to look on board of PSR Boots now to see if there's any significant damage on that front wing. Seems to me that it's all over. maybe potentially some light green damage more than anything. But Akos done a good job of reclosing down that gap now, and probably you can thank Boots and Lurch in that last sector there for going so slow.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's all done a few favours and just looking PSF looking pretty close to the back of Smokey's cars, lagging a little bit, but it looks like Fern isn't going to be too eager to overtake it. See that ERS is activated and Smokey doesn't look to be putting up too much of a fight, and there you have it. We have a change of the lead. PSF Fern down the inside into Cops, and it's still, sorry, not Cops, and PSF Fern does take the lead of this race.
Yeah, certainly so. And Wexro all over the back of PSR Rizzy, who makes another mistake, and maybe he's just feeling that pressure at the minute because Wexro might go for the move now. The AlphaTauri and Lurch again making a mistake there, and that is a huge misfortune there for Rizzy and Lurch, who have lost massive time here. And Lurch going onto their grass there, really driving a bit recklessly at the minute. Tuddy going off the track, and Fern has got past Smokey now, and will Smokey be looking to get back past Fern? That is another question, but it seems to me that Fern is willing to push, and push hard he will, as he's got using some of that battery already. But again, you don't get much back around Britain, certainly when you're the leader off the train. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when Fern decides to go for it and really maybe try and push Smokey to see if he can stick within the DRS.
Yeah, it's like a game of chicken at the moment, just trying to suss out each other, see who's quicker, see who isn't as quick, but it's about trying to stay in the DRS a few of these guys behind. Just make sure you don't lose touch, because DRS is so important through here. Losing it would be pretty catastrophic. So yeah, I think most of these guys are just happy to stay in the DRS and not making too much movement, but we'll stay in board with Smokey. Doesn't look like he's close enough, or like he wants it enough to go for the move, but he's all in the back if Fern coming in. It's still will he make the move? No, it looks like he just backs off coming into the straight, and yeah, the game of chicken will look to continue for another lap.
Yeah, certainly so. Patience is a virtue for some of these drivers. Remember, if there's a Jesus Cinder in this tier, we would have seen a few little cheeky dive bombs into some of these corners. Remember, he did try that at Britain, if you can catch your mind back. And, oh my goodness me, it's Rizzy again making a huge mistake. And Wexro, it seems to me that he's had enough, but he's, at the moment, I don't think he wants to go for it at all here, does Wexro. I think he wants to protect the driver more than anything, and now he's under pressure from the Alpine of Akos, who's not looking to play chess or checkers. He's looking just to get past, and unfortunately for him, it's Cypher who now gets very, very, very aggressive and forces Akos off the track there. Akos will not be happy with that one at all. And again, Akos getting back past. Seems to me that Akos has certainly got the better straight line speed compared to that Alfa Romeo. And again, they're side by side, and who is going to come out on top of this battle? Seems to me that Akos has just done enough to hold on.
Yeah, it looks like it's not over yet. It looks like they're using that racing the slipstream as well, coming down the Cops, but maybe just not enough straight line speed to make the move, as there is a retirement. Today is retired from the race, so that's 3 retirements now. But yeah, crazy stuff there, and I think going back to Wexro originally, I think he wanted to go for the move, but it's quite a late move from Rizzy to defend, and it kind of just blocked him off a little bit, and that kind of killed his momentum, and then he was under pressure from, I think it was Akos again, coming into turn 3. So yeah, it all started to kick off there, and that just shows you it's like a domino effect. One mistake, one guy going for a move, and it all just starts to kick off behind him. So yeah, we just need that to happen at the front now, and yeah, we should be in for some fireworks.
Sector 1, and that is another retirement today, unfortunately retiring, and here comes the American Cypher down the inside, trying to keep his title hopes alive here, but Akos has been spun round. That is a real shame. Maybe a racing incident. We'll leave that one to the stewards to decide. Akos kept his nose in there. Maybe was entitled to that room. We'll have to have a look at that one back later on. But what a shame that is for Akos. And here comes WR Venom. Is he going to try and get a move done on the Alfa Romeo? Not quite yet. But that is an interesting incident there, to say the least, between the pair of them.
Yeah, definitely. It's the same. I think it's just hard racing, and I think just the way the contact model works in this game, it just results in the car on the inside getting spun round. It's hard racing. It's optimistic from Cypher to go for that move, but he needs to make moves like that if he wants to try and keep this title hopes alive. He has to be aggressive. It looks like Shizu Sam is spun the first sector. It's unfortunate stuff around there, but yeah, as I mentioned, it's good stuff from Cypher from his point of view. He needs to make sure he cracks on with this. He has to try and keep going like this, put Boots under a bit of pressure, and try and, for his sake, force him into a mistake.
Certainly so. It's a PSR domination at the minute. 1, 3, 5, 6, 7 for those guys, and I think Wexro might let Cypher through just to make the championship a bit interesting, because Cypher certainly has the better pace compared to Rizzy and Wexro. So it'll be interesting to see if he puts up much of a fight here. Does the Alfa Romeo, and there goes Smokey, an easy move on PSR Fern. Nothing he can do about it. That's again Shazoo Sam getting the yellow flags waved where he is in that middle sector.
Oh wow, look how close these guys are coming through club now. They're all just near enough touching each other. It's incredible how close they can all just run behind each other. And I think we might just start to see some moves soon, because surely drivers might just start to get a little bit impatient now, and probably as well drivers might start to think about pitting as well. Who will start to trigger the undercut? Who will try and make that move? Is Cypher on the back of Wexford? Just think about the move. No, he doesn't. That bit of a dummy move there forces Wexford to break lately. Maybe go for a move out of turn 4. No, he thinks better of it, but he is lining that move up. He can see him open up the corner on screen if he can try and get a better exit. But looking up ahead, there could be a few moves as well. Wexford on the back of Rizzy, but I think that DNS is just a little bit too powerful for everyone. We kind of eliminates the overtaking opportunities coming down into Brooklands.
Yeah, certainly not. All a waiting game at the minute between these guys. Lurch again making that mistake by going wide, but he gets a slingshot exit and gains all that time back. And that's what some of these drivers might need to do. Take different lines and see if they can pull off a little bit of a result by doing that. That is another question to be answered. Akos already pitting quite early on. Has to do something here, doesn't he, really, if he wants any chance. But Smokey, I think, has pulled the trigger here, Callum, as he is starting to pull a bit of a gap to Fern, who's now 6.5 tenths back.
Yeah, it's forcing Fern to use probably more ERS than you did plan on doing this, but as well, Fern has used a lot of ERS, quite low as well now. For him, I think it's below 50%. I think I've seen just above 50%. So yeah, he's really starting to push. As it looks like, top tier on the pit lane, Luck stays out. Rizzy comes in as well, PSR Wexford stays out, and so does Cypher, so does Venom as well. But yeah, look at that, all of the 4 drivers at the front decided to come into the pit lane at the same time.
Interesting decision though from some of these drivers. Was to be expected, shall we say. But the overcut can certainly be a good opportunity, as a few drivers did do that in the Challenger Series as well as WR the other night. It was a wet race. Actually, no, none of the drivers did pit actually in the wet race. This is only Challengers really, where some of the drivers did gain from doing an overcut more than an undercut. So we'll have to wait and see how this all plays out. It might work out for the likes of Cypher though, who are certainly seem to fly at the minute, whereas Lurch at the front here, struggling a little bit with that front end compared to others around him. But they do need to utilise the battery a little bit here, Callum.
Yeah, they really need to give everything in this lap, because it's so important that they don't lose out. Boots as well hasn't a great pit stop. He's just under a second behind PSR in front of him, and he didn't actually get the DRS this lap. I think that's because he was in the pit lane, in fairness, or maybe he was, I'm not too sure. But yeah, he's not got the DRS, and he's going to have to have a pretty good middle sector if he wants to try and get back into that. And PSR Extra, the 3 second time penalty, it's not going to do his race any favours. And realistically, I think we can now cut him out of contention for a win in this race.
Yeah, as Lurch goes back down the inside, and he's going to go into the pits. Now, got to be careful not to speed into the pit lane. Wexford trying to get him a move there. All 3 of them trying to overtake one another there. But unfortunately, just staying in a stalemate there. And Smokey is under a little bit of pressure now from Fern, as he knows some of the overcut might work for some of these drivers. And there we go, easy move for Fern, but could the championship leader be at risk from losing DRS? It's certainly looking likely here, Callum, as now it is over 1 second. The median pace for PSR Boots is certainly seeming a bit of a worry now.
Yeah, it's going to be massive as well. He's used all the deployment, it shows he's been pushing. But where does he come out in relation to this? I mean, it looks like he is still ahead though, and that is really important for him. So he is still on net P3, and look at the time lost pace of Wexford coming out just behind Rizzy there. So yeah, not good from the guys that pitted a lap late, and it just shows the power of the undercut here. It was super strong.
Yeah, it certainly is, which is really surprising, to say the least, from some of these drivers. And Smokey, again, doing a stellar job. And now Boots has got to use every single bit of that deployment left. And Smokey's got to be careful now. He's got to think of this smartly, because maybe Fern might back him up into Boots to allow him to get back into DRS here. So it's another thing he's got to think about, does Smokey at the minute. Because you don't want to risk letting the train form back up. You want to keep it at a gap where there's no chance of this happening. But again, Boots is absolutely screaming and pushing as hard as he can to get within this DRS range. And again, I think he just has fallen short by 10 thousandths here, has Boots. And again, yes, he is just out. And this is absolutely huge for the race here and for his championship, because Cypher is in a very good position to potentially cause a little bit of a drama here.
Yeah, Smokey's out just going around the outside of Fern, so he's now back into the net race lead. But yeah, these two need to work together now, Smokey and Fern, if they want to try and get this gap from PSR Boots.
Yeah, sorry to do your traditional move there, but Lurch went in a bit deep there. And Cypher just nearly got the move done. And it was really optimistic from the American. You can see Lurch is struggling all over the place in that Mercedes. And they're side by side. I thought there was going to be a little bit of drama there. And that's a brilliant switch back in at half, making contact. Lurch is not making this easy whatsoever. Again, they're side by side. The American versus the Englishman. And again, it is VLX Lurch who comes out on top of this, but he's not going this up without a fight. It's Cypher, and he got onto the curb. That's a big mistake from the American, the PSR driver. That's going to be one crucial talking point, and Lurch has crucially missing his end plate there on the left hand side. That is absolutely huge, a costly error by the championship contender.
Yeah, he just bit off more than he chewed into Cypher, and I think that might just be championship boots as costly error from Cypher. Spinning across going into Brooklands, he's lost so much time, his tyres will not be in a great condition either, and I think really unless a miracle happens, I think this title could be going in favour of PSR Boots.
Certainly will be, Callum, and that is a real shame for Cypher. He threw everything at Lurch there, but it just did not play out the way he pictured. And Boots is really still pushing here. He has not given up on this DRS, and he might have been right in doing that here, Callum, because he's now under a second, and he is within that DRS range, which is absolutely crucial for this race to form this train back up as well. He's done an absolutely stellar job of reforming this train now, and he can apply all the pressure to Smokey and Fern here.
Yeah, well, difference a lot makes a lot ago. We thought it was maybe looking pretty dull for Boots, but there you have it. He's got back in the DRS, and this championship rivals in P12 now. So yeah, it's a good lap for Boots, and yeah, he's, as we mentioned, back in that DRS as well. So yeah, really keeps his hopes alive. Is Smokey going for the race lead here? But interesting enough, is Fair maybe defending this one into Brooklands to go? Or maybe he's not. Smokey goes round the outside and up into P6 on track, but the net race lead.
Yeah, good job there from Smokey. He's got to be careful though, using too much of that battery could come back to haunt him later on here in this race. And again, through turn 9 they approach, chucking the car in. A lot of drivers going down to 7th with a big lift. Interesting to see, but it seems to me that Boots really isn't comfortable on these mediums tyres as they go through turns 10, 11, 12, and then approaching the end of turn 13 and now turn 14. Does PSR Boots. So it's interesting to see how a difference in tyres can really affect the way a driver can perform here.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that one. And yeah, it's interesting to see if it is in the big train as well. I think nearly Cypher nearly got into that DRS train, but looks like he's just missed out, and that could be costly as well. He's maybe just going to lose contact with the top 5, and yeah, that's going to really damage any hopes keeping this championship alive for him. And yeah, looking good for Boots. Just going to keep an eye on the actual top 5. These guys still at pit. Just do fresh and mediums moment to come in to pit for softs, and it'll be interesting to see how these guys get on as well with the fresh softs later on in the race.
Yeah, certainly so, and it's interesting to see if the pace they can sustain on these mediums can last to the end as well, because an undercut on the mediums as well certainly is a very, very good option. But the question is, will they be able to utilise the pace of the soft tyres when they are in that switching position? Because we've seen here all the medium runners and the soft runners haven't really been able to overtake the train which is formed. So my question is to you, Callum, would you feel like you're going to have to go even more aggressive than what you were a few laps ago, or will you just have to play it safe and hope for some mistakes, as there is some moves in the at the front here? Shazoo Fresh just lost 2 positions, so just hold that question for a brief second. And we have got Fingerboy, who's already pitting on lap 13.
Yeah, very early pits. There must be a little bit of damage here or something that I just don't know. But yeah, going back to the question, it's tier 2. Things always happen as PSF and going for the race lead. Once again, Smokey isn't defending it too much. These guys have done a great job, to be honest. They've not held each other up all race. They're going to jinx it. Smokey's going down the inside. No, he's just teasing with us. He doesn't going to go for that move. As I mentioned, these guys have been good all race without making too much drama. As yeah, you're making some interesting noises in the back there.
Yeah, South Legend, sorry. It's just got past Shazoo Fresh, but Fresh was off the track by a country mile there. So maybe there was a bit of contact between the two. Or the Aston Martin might have just lost the car on pure traction, as it's so common through that first sector in particular. And you've just made some noise.
Yeah, I'm going down there and saying the PSR Retro. I really make the habit of that one, but yeah, what about that was from Venom? Similar to what Cypher did a few laps ago, but this time he made it work and he kept the move going. But PSR Retro, is he going to give up there yet? Is he going to go for an audacious move? Looks like he won't. Oh, maybe he will. I think he's forced his hand slightly going down the inside. He's been given room by the Haas, but I don't think he's going to be able to keep this one going. Round Luffield they go, and yeah, looks like the Haas is just going to hang on in there for P9.
It's a sensational move there from Venom, who's seeming to be fired up now as he's going to apply the pressure to the PSR drivers. Venom is certainly looking on a hunt, on a charge at the minute. Going a bit wide there indeed through turn 9, but it's all under control now, and he can really start to cause some problems to this PSR train because they're all so connected and so jumbled up that they had no pressure because they're all colleagues at the end of the day here, remember, ladies and gentlemen. So they're not going to fight one another, obviously, as one of their teammates are going to fight for the championship. And there we go, Cypher getting past Wextra, and that was much, much easier for the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, it definitely was, and yeah, he really needs to try and kick on now. It's important for him that he's managed to get back in that DRS. A bit of a mistake though, coming through the club, so that definitely hasn't done his pace any good. But yeah, these guys all front all carrying the pit lane. That's pretty early for the softs. Obviously, those fresh softs can go longer than what I thought, and it'll be interesting to see what their pace will be like in the next few laps. I don't think they'll have enough to catch up to these guys, however. You never know in Tier 2, so yeah, I wouldn't write them off just yet.
Yeah, interesting to see how the undercut worked out for Fingerboy. Oh my goodness me, Piccolo's just gone into the back of Fingerboy there, going way too late on the brakes, and oh my goodness me, Akos has absolutely sent one on the McLaren man, and he's got his elbows out there and has made the move stick. These two are going to give it their all here, and here we go. This is what we've been waiting to see all night here, ladies and gentlemen, and Piccolo goes for a late dive bomb down the inside of Akos, and Akos has kept that move brilliantly, but I don't think this battle is over just yet, as the McLaren is going to use some of that battery down the long forward start finish straight here, and again through turn 9 they go. Will we see some more battling? I think that's enough of the battery to pull in between them two, but what a bit of battling that was. Very, very aggressive and on the edge.
Yeah, it was good stuff there. Just looking at Revere at the moment, will we see any battle between the two? Doesn't look like. I don't think he's really got the straight line speed that we'd hope. FRT smoking in the back of Fern as well. Well, he's not close enough, and yeah, the DRS I think just deprives us a little bit of battles. I think it's just so hard to overtake around here if you're not really that much quicker than the guy ahead of you. I think you just need to wait for mistakes and just wait for a little bit of action to happen, which, to be fair, we've had quite a lot of so far. So 10 laps ago, I think things might get a little bit more spicy.
Yeah, Venom's looking to apply the pressure to Rizzy now, using some of that battery. Got a brilliant exit off the final corner, and Rizzy seeming to be chucking his mirrors left and right here because he knows Venom is certainly looking quick at the moment, the Haas man. He needs to save some of that battery though, and then he can really utilise it and start to apply some of that pressure to the Ferrari, because I feel like soon Venom has got better pace than Rizzy at this moment in time, certainly as he's able to keep much closer, and he is pulling away from Cypher behind, who is struggling to keep up with the Haas man. So we've got to keep an eye on Venom because he's seeming to have the tyre attempt in perfect condition at the moment.
Yeah, it does seem to be 90 years looking good, to be fair to the man in the Haas, and I think the just issue for him is he can't overtake, and that is quite a big issue to have, I think, especially when you're trying to make moves. And I think Cypher as well is probably on the same boat as that. He's not got too much pressure from behind, and he has to make moves. I mean, he has to win this race. I think he has to win this race to keep this championship going. And that's assuming that Boots doesn't make any more moves. So yeah, the championship hope for him isn't looking very good. Boots is in a pretty commanding position, and I think Boots will be pretty comfortable with the way things are going. He isn't under too much pressure from behind. The guys up front are at a good pace, and yeah, I think if you're a Boots fan or if you are PSR Boots, you are pretty content with how this race has been going so far.
Yeah, certainly so, and again, it's just all FL2 Smokey and PSR Fern at the minute. All eyes on them, both on basically 100%, apart from Fern actually, who's on 78%, while Smokey is certainly be playing the long game here by sticking behind. And it will be interesting to see here, Callum. The soft runners aren't too far away from this train up in front. And there goes Venom on Rizzy around the outside. He has done it there, the Haas man. What an optimistic move indeed that was. And that was played to absolute perfection from the Haas man. They got to bit the elbows out. And Rizzy is not giving this up without a fight. Venom parking his car in the middle of the track before moving back to the racing line. All legal, all brilliant from Venom. But Rizzy is not going to be too happy with that one now. And Boots is certainly going to have to be checking his mirrors now, because now it is a driver who is not in PSR who is there to protect him.
Yeah, that's fantastic from Venom. I watched it coming through the club, coming out the final corner. He just set it up perfectly. He used the run through the Hamilton Straight. He used the ZRS. He cut it off at turn 1, made sure he got a good run through turn 1. He forced Rizzy to defend, which I was surprised Rizzy defended because he didn't have to. But then Venom, round the outside, superb grip, superb confidence, and a superb move in general. And it looks like he might not be done yet. And not a great exit there from PSR, but it's going to maybe put him under a bit of pressure from Venom. But it looks like maybe Venom doesn't have the legs just yet, saving that ERS as he was just in a pretty heated battle. So yeah, not all done yet as well. Rizzy, pretty deep as well. And yeah, it's all starting to kick off now, isn't it?
Certainly is, and this is what we've been waiting for. Somebody with that maybe a little bit of pace, a little bit of more confidence through the corners. And again, Venom's got nothing to lose here, but just get good results. And we're seeing some more confidence from Venom, and that is a key thing in league racing. If you've got the confidence, you can really start to pick up more pace and pick up better results. That's what we're seeing from WR Venom at the moment, as he's absolutely fine. Look how close he is, touching the rear ring of PSR Boots there. You can see the confidence and the speed he's carrying through the corners compared to everyone else, and it's forcing Boots to use some of that battery, which is then forcing Smokey to use some of that battery as well. So the pace is certainly starting to pick up as Fern makes a huge mistake on that curb there, losing the rear end. But I feel like we're starting to see the pace pick up, and now the soft runners are going to get involved now, because Rev Caterpillar is up into the back of these guys in front.
Well, I'm surprised to see the soft guys. I've never really seen the Strat work too much around here, but Rev Caterpillar in a great position to try and get a good result out of this race. And it's all very dependent on these guys battling, but it looks very likely. It's all starting to kick off now. His drivers maybe a little bit slower than others, drivers were more confident than others, and PSR Boots with a great Maggots and Beckett section there. It just allows them to get close to the back of T-Smokey, but maybe just not quite enough. But it looks like WR Venom might be under a little bit of pressure as well coming into Stowe. Is he going to have to do some defending as he's staying behind him and doesn't look to make any sort of move? But look how close he's coming through Stowe. Will there be any sort of move coming out of club as well? But it looks like it'll all be pretty single file for the time being.
Oh my. Yeah, just Venom broke extremely late for a second. I thought we were going to see the championship leader spun right around, but he's managed to keep the car on track, and that was good car control in the end. But you can see Rizzy is really starting to apply that pressure to Venom now. He's been probably given the go-ahead to attack and attack and attack hard. But unfortunately, the Ferrari man is not finding a way, and he's maybe attacked a bit too hard there, breaking far into the back of the house, unsettling the car of his own. But Cypher will be looking to get past his own colleague now, because he knows for the championship he's got to put Boots under as much pressure as possible here, and it's going to be hard to please both drivers here, Callum. Being part of the same team, it could get ugly.
Oh! Yeah, PSR Boots, what a mistake that is. That's allowed the Haas to get through. Up at the P3 goes WR Venom, and a costly mistake from PSR Boots, which just allows him to drop that one position further back than he didn't have to do. It's an unnecessary mistake, an unforced error, and yeah, down into P4, not good stuff from PSR Boots, which means Cypher, he can spell blood now, and if he can get a move on, this championship could be well flipped on its head again.
It certainly could. We could see it go to Brazil. That is a big but though. But Boots is certainly feeling the pressure now. Venom maybe just applying just a bit, about enough there, and it's caused Boots to crack under it. Venom could certainly still win this race here, Callum. He's got so much confidence. After telling me this morning he had absolutely zero, he's looking to be fired up now, and he's got the mojo around this Britain track. And there goes Rev Caterpillar down the inside now. And this could be another element to this race, because now here comes LRT Jonah, as well as South Legend, Fingerboy, all in this train now. It's all going to start to kick off with 6 laps left to go.
Yeah, we don't normally see good Silverstone races, but this one's really surprising. There's so many elements here. PSR Boots breaking really late at the turn 3, nearly went in the pass, but yeah, it's all going to start to kick off now. WR Venom, sorry, breaking very late as well. It's so different lines, and it's giving me a little bit of a panic attack each time, but yeah, it's super close racing. And yeah, the guys in the softs as well might just throw the extra spanner into the works here.
Yeah, it's so unique, this race now. This will be the most chaotic Silverstone Grand Prix in terms of the dry conditions I've ever been a part of here. You just don't know how this can all play out between any of these drivers, because Wexro is going to be outside the points now. Same with Rev Caterpillar as well. Crucial not to get any penalties later on in this race now. Venom certainly starting to fill up that battery, whereas Boots is starting to utilise that battery. He's got double Boots' ERS, and look how much more speed he carries through that Maggots and Beckett section. He gets an absolutely sensational exit as well. He's going to be deploying all that battery left in his car, in that AlphaTauri, but it's not going to be enough, because there's the train which has been formed here just means there's absolutely zero chance that Boots can make any move on Venom.
Yeah, it's crazy to see just how hard it can be, how hard you have to work to make a move, but how hard that is, or how easy it is, to make a mistake and then take loads of few positions, which you've seen with Boots, and he's trying to work hard now to try and make up for those errors in that position that he did lose. But yeah, he doesn't have to, he's in a good position, he wins his championship. Remember, Scyther has to outscore Boots by 13 points to continue this on to Brazil next week, so Boots is in a great position, and he doesn't have to risk too much at the moment. If I was him, you stay in P4 and just make sure you defend from the car behind.
Yeah, exactly right. He's got nothing to lose here as Boots. He can relax. He can let Rizzy overtake him if he likes and just hold up Cypher, which could also be a good strategy for the AlphaTauri men, because why would you want to risk losing your championship here tonight when you can just get it wrapped up? You're in a comfortable P4. There's nothing for you to gain from this, apart from a podium, try to your tally this season, but is it really worth it when you've won so many races this season, would you think, Callum?
It probably isn't. He's in a very good position. I think we've seen Boots this season throw away a lot of points, and I don't think he'll want to add Silverstone to a tally of what it could have been. So, yeah, I think it's just important for him to stay in the position. However, if he's got the confidence, if he believes that Venom would give him the space if he goes for a move, which obviously he does, then I'm not going to complain. It gives us something to shout about. But yeah, once again, not too much happening. Smoking on the back of Fern, but yeah, it doesn't want to be close enough. And you make a strange noise in the back.
Yeah, it's just watching that battle there, it was getting very, very close. I thought Smokey was going to go for it, but unfortunately he decides to back out of it once again, and I think that's what's going to happen now to the very end of this race. Venom, I feel like he's going to have to do what he's done to all those other drivers he's overtaken before. Apply the pressure and force Smokey to go for the move. If he wants any chance of winning this race, he needs to be that second man in the train now, because it's all on Smokey and Venom if they want to change this result now, because it's between those three guys, and Boots is certainly starting to drop off here, Callum, and he's under pressure from PSR Rizzy.
Yeah, once again on DRS, just enough to kind of keep him away and just keep him at a safe distance to not lose any positions. So yeah, DRS really doing him a solid there. His old pace Alexo breaking pretty late there into left field, but yeah, so Brooklyn, sorry, but yeah, pretty interested to see these soft tyres just maybe not making an impact. What we just thought Rev Caterpillar can't really get close enough to Cypher or put under any sort of pressure, and yeah, the race went a bit stale now, but I think all it takes is now Smokey and Fenn to start going. I think because Smokey will want to start going for this lead, and then they'll just kind of start to create a domino effect, and yeah, I think this is going to be a really interesting last 4 or 5 laps now.
Yeah, it certainly is, and we'll just wait for that all the smoke to start to fire now, because it's going to kick off very, very shortly. We're going to see some late dies, as this is the final round, the penultimate round of this season, where nobody has got anything to gain, only Boots has got something to lose, and Wextra and LRT Jonah going side by side, who picks up a penalty for going off the track there, and here comes Sort of Legend. He's forced Jonah to go for the move on Wextra. That's great awareness from Wextra to not get any contact between the Spaniard there, but really good awareness, and now Sort of Legend's got the RS advantage. He's not going to go for it into turn 1, is he? This is absolutely sensational racing. Hasn't ended in tears, not just yet. There's been a contact between the two. Here comes Fingerboy down the inside. South Legend keeps in front, he has to turn out there, and oh my goodness me, Jonah making a mistake and turns across South Legend, and Wextro's flying off the circuit there. Very aggressive driving from the 3 of those drivers, but Wextro has come off worse, and I don't think he'll be happy with that one whatsoever.
No, definitely won't be. It's all starting to kick off though, but it's good racing from them, we're not going to complain. Just keeping up an eye in the front and not too much action just yet. I think we're just going to wait until it all kicks off. FRT Smokey 100% ERS, but a firm 85% ERS as well. Venom though, down to 50%, same with Boots as well, and Pizzy as well, Rizzy, sorry, yeah, not sure I got Pizzy from Rizzy, not looking good as well, under 50%. So yeah, these top 2 are really the main real contenders for this race one here, just because of the sheer ERS that they've got. So just a couple with Smokey, see coming through Magus and Beckett's, will we see any sort of attempt in the hanger straight, or will he just leave it for once again another lap? He doesn't seem to be using any ERS, so he's just happy for Fern to stay in the lead for just one more lap.
Yeah, it certainly is. He's being able to control this pace quite nicely, has PSR Fern at the minute, and nobody else has really been able to challenge him so far, but it's all been a game of chess between Smokey and PSR Fern. As we've seen the two Alpine and McLaren's battling out. These two have been giving them all this race so far, and again they're giving us a show right now. Great race between the two, great respect on the track, and that was side-by-side action, really on the limits of illegal racing, but it was all fair, all game between the pair of these guys. And again, they're side-by-side. Piccolo using all the battery to stick in front. Will Akos go for a late dive down the inside? No, he thinks better off here. But what a battle between these two. They seem to be so equally matched that they're just giving them absolute all at the minute. And Sarv Legend is going to retire from this race after an unfortunate incident on the opening lap. But there goes Akos down the inside. Nothing Piccolo can do about that one. One lap 24-26 now. It should all start to kick up a notch here between the top three in particular, as Boots still has not been able to close up to Venom at the minute. And it's really going to be interesting, as Venom has got 1 lap younger tyres as well, which could be a key deciding factor in this race.
Yeah, definitely could be. Just keep an eye on this one, see what we see. Any sort of action will Smokey just start to throw the handbags at it. But once again, not using any ERS, which is just really interesting to see. He's not going to leave it to the last lap, surely. Coming into Cops, you can see how close he can get. Or still, sorry, I keep getting those mixed up. But coming into, so you can see how close he's getting, but he doesn't go for the move, and that's really interesting. He's happy to keep leaving it. But how late is it to just for it to be too late in a sense? You know, you don't want to leave it to the last lap. So surely the penultimate lap must be the last straw for Smokey to try and really have a go at this race lead.
Certainly is, and it is all about to kick off here on the penultimate lap. What will happen? Leave your comments in the chat below. Will we see a different winner or a different podium to what it is now? Let us know your thoughts in the chat down below. As Venom, again, he's much closer than he has been any other lap. I feel like it's time for Venom to start applying the pressure, and he knows it is that time indeed. He's around 2.5 tenths back from FRT Smokey. He was a 10.5 back from PSR Fern. They've got to make something work between the pair of them here. We've noticed that Venom is certainly lacking that straight line speed compared to the Mercedes and the Alfa Romeo, but maybe through the first sector he might be able to utilise the cornering speed to get a better exit and maybe just make the move stick with some kind of miracle. He's using all that battery deployment. Boots again playing it patient, not using any of the battery, and he is falling backwards. Is the AlphaTauri driver. Again, it is really close action between the pair, all three of these guys, but Smokey knows now is the time. He's got to make the move stick. Fern goes semi-defensive, but again, Smokey is not making this move. This is really interesting. Smokey's disconnected on the final penultimate lap, and now it's between Venom and Smokey. Boots is going to get on the podium again. Maybe that's why playing it patient, playing it safe can sometimes benefit the guys who are patient here. What a shocking turn of events that is for Smokey.
Yeah, super unlucky. It might just get back in time as well. SCB Legend look like he's left as well. I'm not sure what's happened to him, but wow. Yeah, it's all kicking off now. Now WOR Venom might have a chance of winning this race, but he really has to close up to the back of Fern now, put him under a bit of pressure, coming into Brooklands and especially try and stick to the back of that Alfa Romeo, coming through the middle sector and especially coming out of Chapel. It really needs to make sure he's on the back of that Alfa Romeo to try and really somehow launch a last lap attack.
Yeah, it's going to have to be a late dive from the Haas driver. He needs to be within 2 tenths on the exit of Maggots and Beckett's section if he wants any chance. But again, the gap, we don't have any data on how far the gap is at the moment, but I'm assuming it's around 5 to 6 tenths at this moment in time. Venom is absolutely giving it his all now. That was a beautiful turn 9 from Venom. He is gaining that momentum. He is chucking everything at this Alfa Romeo, who's got 20% more, but Venom can still certainly win this race on the exit of Maggots and Beckett's now. Through turn 14 they go. It's going to be who's got the better battery. Venom surely going to go for a late last dive down the inside. He's certainly closed it in on the Alfa Romeo. Is he going to send it? No, he's not. But with a good exit through Cop's corner, will he go for a late dive? Surely it's worth the risk here, but no, just too far back, and that is why managing your ERS can certainly pay off here. Cypher makes a late dive of Resi. There, you'll have to tell me more about that, but it is PSR Fern who wins the British Grand Prix in dominant fashion.
Yeah, and most importantly, PSR Boots says your WR Tier 2 champion. P3 was enough for him today, and there you have it. He is your Tier 2 champion. He's done really well all year. He's kept it consistent. He kept himself out of trouble today as well. And there you have it. Boots, congratulations to you, mate. Great drive all season.
Certainly is. What a champion, what a driver has PSR Boots been. He has done it here at Britain. P3 securing the title, as Callum mentioned. You couldn't have asked for anything better than that for Boots, and he has deserved this championship. He's fought long and hard this season, had a lot of ups and downs, but has a lot more ups than he has downs, and that is why he is your Tier 2 champion with a round to go in dominant style from Boots this season. Not like last season where it was all up and down. He made amends from that season as well. He was more of a midfield runner, but now he's your Tier 2 WR champion of the world.
Yeah, fantastic stuff from Boots. If anyone wondered what happened to Rizzy and why he made a strange noise once again at the end of that race, he went for a move on Boots going into this before club and made contact and spun. So if anyone wondered why Rizzy has been in P9, that is your reason.
Oh, thank you very much, Callum, for that information. That was absolutely crucial, actually, because I was wondering how that did happen. So I thought he did it a bit earlier into that one, a bit later, sorry. So it's a real shame for Rizzy, as he had a great result, but played his cards a little bit too late in that game of chess. Which is real unfortunate for him. Just ran off the top 10 then. It is PSR third, P2 to P1. Ever since he took the lead away from Smokey, it seemed that it was always going to happen. Unfortunately, Smokey did DNF, so we didn't know how it was really going to play out in the end. But it was WR Venom from P9 to P2. A stellar drive on that second stint on the mediums. Did enough to get on that podium, and the new WR Tier 2 champion in P3 of PSR Boots Cypher with an amazing effort there to get P4 with Fingerboy from P18 to P5. Fair play to him, with Shazoo Fresh in P6, with Jonah in P7, Sarv Legend in P8, with Rizzy in P9, and Smokey rounds off the top 10. The alternate strategy played in the favour then for those guys, as they had some absolutely incredible pace in those mediums to make that alternate strategy work. But that'll be it from me and Callum. Callum, as it's your final time, any last words for this season?
Just a thank you very much for having me. Obviously, we've done the 2 seasons on this game, and 2 amazing seasons. I think maybe the last one would stand out more, but this one's just been as amazing, and it's been a pleasure commentating alongside you, and hopefully we can do it many more times on the next few games to come.
Certainly so. That will be our plan, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back, hopefully, commentating over Tier 2 or Tier 1 or whatever tier Luke Humperdinck decides to put us on. We'll hopefully be back bringing you guys the content and making your Tuesday evenings just as entertaining as they are without this team. And thank you from myself and Callum again. Hopefully I'll be at Brazil for the final time this season. If not, it's been an absolute pleasure to commentate over this tier. Fair play to Boots again, deserved champion. He's put up incredible results this season. Again, thank you everybody who's tuned in from start to finish this season, and thank you to Callum again for working alongside me for these last 2 seasons. But until maybe next season, from myself and Callum again, thank you very much, and we'll see you again next time. Goodbye.